And a very good morning to you. A couple of minutes late. It's drive time with New York Vinny. Sorry I'm late this morning, but I got hung up, and unfortunately, it jumped into showtime. We are here. We are ready to rock and roll with some drive time radio this morning. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for uh, being a part of the drive time radio community. I always appreciate that and appreciate your participation in the show. You can do that by, of course, typing in your comments on Instagram, on Facebook, and on X, and any other platforms that we might be broadcasting on this morning. I know there's a few of them on there, so please participate in the show. Let us know your thoughts. We're going to have in just a couple of minutes, our good friend Tom Volk is going to join us from Driven. He's going to join us in his role as president of the Northwest Automotive Press Association. We're holding our big event this week, MUDFEST. And why don't you just talk about that a little bit and let you know what it's about, let you know what our association is about. One of the things that I am getting a lot of buzz about this week. I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of people are, and I guess because the weather's nice. Boy, the e-bikes are bugging a lot of people. Kids on e-bikes. I've seen more stuff on the internet, on social media about e-bikes and kids that are using them. And I mean, it just got to a point this week where, arguments are breaking out among people on Reddit and all the different social media platforms about what to do about this problem. You have a combination of the good weather, kids who are able to afford, or their parents are able to afford a solid, nice e-bike, and the braggadocio and the invulnerable, or the thought that people are invulnerable. Kids, especially when they drive these e-bikes and they drive them through traffic, they're doing wheelies, they're doing that and this, and all of a sudden, a lot of people think that it's going to lead to something tragic. And you know what? The truth is, it probably will. When you're doing wheelies down the street and so on and so forth, you're probably just going to wind up with a tragedy at some point, because at that age, your reaction time isn't the greatest. You're not experienced. You don't know how to get yourself out of different situations. I mean, there's a lot going on, and a little bit of recklessness can go a long way on those e-bikes. And I can tell you this from experience. I can tell you this because when I was 16 years old, I had a mini bike. And did the same thing, riding around the street. 16 years old. Some guy cut in front of me, and I hit him, and I broke almost everything you see. Both arms, both legs, all my fingers, my collarbone, scars in different places. And so I know all too well what can happen. The reason I walk the way I walk is partially because of an e-bike. Well, not an e-bike. I mean, I didn't have e-bikes back then, but a mini bike. It was a regular little Yamaha, but it was a smaller size, and I got one with the money I earned from working, and thought I was a wise ass with it. Drove it around in a supermarket, drove it around a couple other places. It was funny at the time. It was funny up until about 8 o'clock on June 5th, 1972. when the guy in a 64 Mercury turned in front of me on 30th Avenue. And the next thing I knew, I was on my way to Elmhurst Hospital. My shin bone, was sticking a couple of inches out of my pants. And I was wearing bell bottoms at the time. So I can tell you that from experience that it's not fun. But if you got one of those bikes, that was basically the only place you could go to drive it. There was, I mean, grew up in the city. I'm not saying it's anybody else's fault, but I put a post on the Edmonds, because that's where I saw a lot of the stuff on social media. I put a post on Edmonds about an idea that would involve the Edmonds Police Department and a couple other, entities, and maybe give kids a place to ride the mini bikes, ride the e-bikes, give kids a place to go where they will kind of supervise, make them take at least some safety courses with these bikes. And it had some good reaction, had some bad reaction too. I mean, for some reason, there were people that just didn't want to see anything about these mini bikes. They were just not in the mood for it. Listen, I know they can be intimidating. If a couple of these e-bikes come up beside you and they're doing wheelies or popping wheelies in a shopping center parking lot or something like that, they can put the fear and God in you. And, to parents, I would say at the very least, if you're going to get your kid one of these bikes, try to impress upon them that you have to follow certain rules. Maybe they'll listen, maybe they won't. They're kids. But if you want to save their lives, that's probably one thing you got to do. I mean, listen, I'm not saying, and I don't want to see him get involved in an accident. But we know how it goes. And we know the kids don't always listen. And they certainly don't always, if they don't have a driver, especially if they don't have a driver's license, they don't have the training. So if they're going to get one of these e-bikes, it's the damage they cause will be your responsibility. And so it behooves you, if you're a parent or a grandparent or have some kind of say in the bringing up of these kids, to to try to at least impress upon them that they should be following the rules, and to try to impress upon them that it would be a good idea for them to take either a course or at least read the driver's manual, get some kind of familiarity with the rules. And then you got to lay down the law to them. You got to lay down the law that says, listen, if you violate the rules, if you get caught driving stupid, you're going to lose the bike. That's simple. And hopefully, you'll be able to avoid a tragedy. Hopefully, you'll be able to avoid what I went through when I was a kid. It wasn't fun. And I just feel like, if I could get the word out there, if you can get the message out there, maybe you'll save some kid the trouble that I went through. Maybe some kid won't be walking like me when they're 70 years old. You know, I can tell you that there isn't a day I don't go by when I step on my ankles and my leg with arthritis in it, my knees, because my legs are so out of line that I don't think about it. But the other side of the coin is I probably would get on the bike again. You know, I mean, I can't say as I wouldn't get on the bike again and I've gotten on motorcycles since then, but there's something about it. There's something about it that I don't know, makes you feel I don't know, it gives you a freedom. I don't know. It definitely makes you feel I don't know, so the wind in your hair and everything like that makes you feel good. I think you get the same feeling on an e-bike. But again, you really have to be uh it's one thing to ride it not crazy, but to ride it along with traffic. And if you want to ride crazy like that, go to an empty parking lot. If you want to do wheelies, you want to do that kind of stuff, I don't think anybody's going to be able to stop you. But wear a helmet and without it, if you want to do wheelies or something like that, there's plenty of empty parking lots around here. Maybe you want to do that as well as go to a parking lot with a couple of your friends. I wish that maybe the city of Edmonds would organize something that would get you a parking lot and some kind of supervision so you could go down to a place and, have some fun with the bikes. Set up a course or something like that. But it's becoming a bigger problem. More and more kids are getting their hands on them. And they're becoming, they're becoming a problem. And I can just see tragedy coming down the road. So hopefully, parents will supervise their children. I know it's hard. It's not easy. Being a parent these days with all of these distractions. Oh yeah, we don't want you on the phone. We don't want you on social media. We don't want you to have an e-bike. We don't want you to have this. We don't want you to have this. It seems like you're always telling them no. But maybe you can facilitate them taking the e-bike someplace where it can be ridden without going into the flow of traffic. I know that that's kind of cool to do that, but I don't know. Maybe you have the the means and everything to take them someplace where it's safer. I don't know where that place is. I'd have to. I'm gonna try to research it more and maybe have a something up to let you know where you can take your kid and your e-bike. So that's one of the things that we are talking about this morning. The program is brought to you by my good friend George Jackson. George is a prince of a guy. He does business promotional items, keychains, shirts, sweaters, golf towels, all of the stuff that you have your logo imprinted on, your business name imprinted on, and give to people as a means for them to remember your business. George puts that stuff together. He designs them. He facilitates you getting them. Does a great job of it. You can reach him at gjpromo.com. That's gjpromo.com. And the reason I endorse George so much is because he's a great guy to do business with. He's a great human being. He's been doing this for a long time. And George has the, if you need T-shirts or something like that for your outing, your family reunion, your golf outing, whatever it is that you need business promotional items for, my friend George Jackson can take care of that for you. He can get it done for you, and get it done in a quick manner, at a low price, at a good price, because you're dealing directly with George. You're not going through a computer or a company that has 9,000 people working for it. You're dealing with George. So George Jackson, gjpromo.com, GJ Promo on the internet, on your social media channels. Check them out. And if you need that kind of stuff, those kinds of items, jackets, I mean, he does everything. If it's something that can have your name printed on it, George can get it done. And you can deal with George, his service. And that's one of the things that George does that is so good, is he gives you service. You deal with a human being. You're not dealing with a company that you can't get a hold of. You're dealing with a human being that is able to answer your questions, is a live voice that you can get in contact with, that can give you good information. Man, I feel like I got a bug crawling on me or something. Anyway, I don't know what's going on today. It's like I got bug bites or something. Something, I don't know. So weird. It's been a weird morning, to say the least. All right. We're expecting Tom Vogt to join us in just a couple of seconds. Yeah, it's funny. I got a... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Something strange is happening. Anyway, tell you what, we're gonna... All right. Anyway, as I said, we will we'll join Tom Vogt in just a second. One quick thing that I wanted to let you know about is, Washington has a super speeder law, and the super speeders are people who accrue a number of traffic tickets in sometimes it's a short period of time. Sometimes it's not. But Uh, Washington, a couple of years, well, 2 years ago, uh, decided to do something about them, and they're what they're doing is they if you get caught with a certain amount of speeding tickets in a certain amount of time, they classify you as a super speeder. That is somebody who doesn't obey the speed laws. And if they catch you, they can order a speed limiting device put on your car. That law will take effect in the state of Washington next year. New York saw that law and said, you know what? That's a pretty good idea for us as well. And so the New York State Legislature is running a bill now, doing what Washington did and going after these super speeders. One of the top super speeders in the state of New York is a cop, believe it or not, on Staten Island, who I don't know what his idea, what he's doing, but all of a sudden this guy has like 600 tickets in 2 years for speeding. I don't know how in the world they let him go. And I don't know how in the world he's still a cop, but he's on Staten Island and he just doesn't obey speed laws. And the speed cameras catch him. You know, they got the speed cameras by school zones here in New York. They're a little more prolific. They're a little more out there. And they've caught this guy, like I said, 600 times. It's insane. So what we've done here in Washington is now coming to going to happen in New York. So we're one of the leaders. There's only 3 states that have these super speeder laws. When you tone down the speed limit, it proves that it saves lives. In each one of these states where the super speeder laws has happened, the deaths due to traffic accidents have dropped because speed kills. And it's not just quick, you know. I mean, the difference between hitting a pedestrian at 25 miles an hour and 35 miles an hour is the difference between life and death. 25 miles an hour, you cause injuries. 35 miles an hour is generally enough to kill somebody. So congratulations to New York for doing that. I want to welcome in my good friend, Tom Volk. We're going to add him to the show. Hello, Tom. How are you from Driven Car Reviews with over 200,000 followers?
I'm well. It looks like my screen is kind of dirty, though. My camera. Yeah, I look a little fuzzy.
Yeah, you look a little fuzzy. What's is your computer been drinking?
Boy, without me, geez, I think it's got
I got
a problem
one here for you, but
alone.
I can't help you.
You know what? Yeah. Oh well. I thought I had maybe a cloth. Hang on for a second.
Okay. Doodle-doop-ba-doop-ba-doop-ba-doop. Tom's cleaning. Look at that. That's a little better. It's a little better.
I think that is better.
Well, you're a handsome guy. We don't want to shortchange the crowd on your handsomeness.
Stop. Are you flirting with me?
No, I'm not flirting with you. Just that, but I'm man enough to admit when somebody's a good-looking guy. You know, I mean, me, I got a face for radio. You look like a TV guy.
You're a treasure, Vinny. Come on.
If I'm a treasure, let me tell you, the ship is sunk. The ship has boom. How you been, man?
I've been busy. I've been planning for our Writers Association, the Northwest Automotive Press Association's SUV of the Year competition called MUDFEST.
Right.
And that's next Tuesday. And you're going to be there, right?
Yes, I am. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah, we have 18 SUVs and trucks ready to go out at the Ridge Motorsports Park in Shelton, Washington. And it's a great event. All of the writers associations across the country have said that they're very envious of this program, and all the manufacturers really like this event. It's a really good event.
Yeah. What it is, and the great thing about this event is you're getting 18 of the newest stuff. Matter of fact, there's going to be a vehicle there this year that isn't even out yet. You couldn't even go buy one.
Yeah,
Which is a Scout, which is a lot of people are talking about. It's an EV SUV. Lots of people are talking about the vehicle.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the buzz in the industry, and we're going to have one, and some people from the company that makes the Scout to tell us about it, to walk us through, and
Yeah.
to and to really educate us a little bit on why this vehicle is different, why it will be successful. What it's all about. For those of you who don't know, Scout, it's a brand that was put out by International Harvester in the 60s and the 70s. It was really the original SUV, if you
I know.
think about it. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, short wheelbase, four-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive, but four-wheel drive, where you would shift it in, was a light, utilitarian vehicle. It was like a Jeep. And I guess,
yeah,
I guess you could say the Jeep is the original. And it gave people an alternative to a Jeep, had a little I4 engine in it and a little 3-speed transmission. And I loved the Scout. My dad had one for his gas station, and we used to beat the crap out of that thing. And
yeah.
it ran.
My cool uncle had one.
Yeah, you couldn't kill him. You couldn't
Yeah,
kill him. Well, folks
they rusted
bought
away
that
though.
name
I grew
Scout.
up in Minnesota, so we watched them rust away. Sadly.
Yeah, they were all metal, so the floors in them were just in the back. In the back, there was like these two pieces that were kind of like seats that faced each other. And what would happen is the base of those seats would rust out. And so somebody'd be sitting on that thing in the back, and all of a sudden they boom, drop down a little bit. I don't
Well,
think we'll see
fortunately,
that.
yeah, fortunately, I didn't experience that, and I don't think that's a feature they're going to bring back.
Yeah, it's going to be a vehicle that's going to have a retro look and going to use the name, but it's an all new vehicle. It's developing from the ground up,
Right.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Also,
and
I've seen some of them where they have 3 across seating in the front.
awesome.
And and I think that makes sense because so many people feel like they need a 3-row SUV and they really don't. And getting the 3 across seating is one of those features that kind of takes care of that. Well, I might need 6 people in the vehicle,
Right.
whereas most of these SUVs now, if it's a 2-row, you can only put 5 in. So it really does help out.
Yeah, I missed that. I missed that 3 across seating. It used to have in the old trucks that
Yeah.
you don't get anymore. And
Yeah.
it was, it was, I don't know, it was something like when you went on a trip or something with your dad and your uncle, and you sat in the middle when you were a kid. There was something cool about that.
Yeah.
There was something like kind of, you're sitting in the front with, not in the back seat, but you're sitting in the front. Or if you're, in a pickup truck, it was even better. I mean, nowadays the pickup trucks have back seats, but back then they didn't. And you got to pile in with everybody. So,
Right.
and that's one of the things we'll see at MUDFEST. That new
Mhm.
vehicle, we'll get to learn about that. But 18 vehicles, 18 drivers, and at the end of 2 days, one day on the track, on asphalt, one day going through a course that's built by us, that's built by NWAPA,
Yeah.
and to our specifications. And we take these vehicles and we run them through an actual off-road situations where they have to go up a big hill, down a big hill, ford like a bit of a stream or a river type deal. Rocks that go this way and that way, so you can test out the different holding apparatuses in the car, the
Yeah.
hill holes and things like that. I mean, we really put them through.
And moguls and all that kind of stuff. It's,
Yeah,
you
we
know what
put
it
them through.
is? It's not an extreme off-road course, because the reality is people who are buying new vehicles are not taking their Toyota Land Cruisers off-road when they're brand new. All the
Right.
research shows that it's the second or the third owner that ends up beating the crap out of their vehicles and really doing the super capable off-road stuff. But it's, it's like a very severe Forest Service road, the kind of vehicle that, the owner of a new vehicle would actually point their SUV at. And most consumers would look at the course that we're doing and go, I don't think so. I'm going to turn back.
Yeah.
The extreme off-roaders will look at it and go, come on, that's not extreme. But it's not meant to be. It's meant to be real world testing.
Right. It's what I always equate it to, if you're familiar with the road that runs from Darrington down to Granite Falls, which is the Mountain Loop Highway. If you take your four-wheel drive on that Mountain Loop Highway, that's about the same you'll experience. Maybe ours is a little bit tougher because it has a hill, but if you go off and up on one of the mountain roads, go up to Mount Pilchuck up there, Pilchuck, where you can drive up the forest road and get near the Pilchuck River, and that's kind of the same situation. So it's not extreme. You're right, and it puts these vehicles where we can say one of them, two of them are the recreational, well, not the recreational vehicle, but the SUV, the Northwest activity vehicle of the year, the SUV of the year. We can say with confidence that according to our 18 panel of judges, that's a good vehicle. It's a solid buy if you're in the market for that type of vehicle.
Yeah. And also the journalists that are going to be there are really good. Ryan Douthit from Driving Sports, Tommy Micah from the Fast Lane Car and Truck, there are people there that are very highly respected. Dave Erickson from Everyman Driver, who is killing it in the content. He's just always putting out videos. These are really good writers. They really know their stuff. I mean, collectively, we have, I hate to say it, but literally hundreds of years of experience in these vehicles. I've been writing for like 23 years now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with our association in this event. You benefit from the experience of the drivers, the writers that drive these things on a weekly basis. I mean, we get these things for a week at a time. We take them on courses. I always talk about the Joe, which is the course I take my vehicles on, but I also have an off-road course that I take that I go up into upper Snohomish County and go up there and take the vehicles that fit that type of profile up through them. This kind of lets us compare them like you do with the auto show. You got them right next to each other, and we get to talk to people from the manufacturers about the vehicle,
that's invaluable.
Yeah.
These people live and breathe these vehicles. And of course, they're going to be biased because they are the product specialists. But the fact that they know these vehicles inside and out and can give us the inside baseball on everything from the suspension to the user interface to little things that slip through the cracks that, even though we're all very experienced with vehicles, there are these little new features that, we sometimes miss. And so it's really helpful to have these people here a long riding shotgun showing us the capabilities of the vehicle. Because I think a lot of people think that this competition is about, well, how good are these vehicles off-road? That's only a part of it, because
Right.
that's only a part of how you use a vehicle. You need to know how big the cargo space is, how the back seats fold, whether they have 40-20-40 split seats or just the standard 40-60, whether or not the load floor in the back is adjustable for height, whether or not it has a spare tire, because a lot of vehicles these days do not come with a spare tire.
Right.
And if you're out in the wilderness and you don't have some sort of spare, you can be out of luck.
Yes.
Also the user interface, all of the little features, like the new Jeep Cherokee that I just had, has self-parking. And who would have thunk a self-parking Jeep? But I tried it, and it's fall on your face, easy to use. So more people are apt to use it. It's really great having these representatives here. It really is.
And it benefits you, the listener, you, the consumer, because collectively we all put out content from this event. And so if you are a YouTube fan and you watch my channel, as you are now, or you watch Tom's channel, Driven, or any of these, the TFL, any of these channels, and you want to know, or you can always, you'll be able to go to our website and see, the final vote in which SUV we award the best of the Northwest too, and you'll just get there'll be a lot of content that will be generated from this event too, and that's as an association and as writers and as people who do these videos, that's what we want. We want something where we can generate content. Some people have access to these vehicles. Some people don't have access to these vehicles all the time, or they have access to them further on down the road. This will have the newest and the best all together in one place, along with a bunch of journalists eating free food. Let me tell you something.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not free. The Writers Association.
Right.
We're paying for that.
This
is
I
cheap.
misspoke.
This is not a cheap event to put on. I mean, this is easily, the budget on this is like $30,000.
It's amazing. It's true, because we do it. We have our meals and everything.
Yeah, I'm
so
watching.
Free food. I take that back.
As the president of NWAPA, I am looking at this and going, ooh, I hope we break even.
we gotta squeeze it through somehow.
Yeah.
Well, that means our dues will go up next year, right? I mean, what are you going to do?
Sorry to say, hey man, inflation, gas prices, it's all going up.
Are you how are you getting a lot of buzz about gas prices from people? I would think.
Yeah. In fact, I'm the good news is that the New York Times has brought back its automotive section, Wheels. And so I just wrote a piece about that. Everybody's writing a piece about that. And there was all this chatter at the beginning of 2026 that electric vehicle sales are down and all. I talked to the North American CEO of Hyundai, and they said now electric vehicle sales are up 15% from where they were a year ago. Because you know what? And I will hop on my soapbox, because while you and I really don't have any skin in the game, we don't have a dog in the fight over what people buy. I think as journalists, we just want people to buy the vehicle that's best for them, right? We tried to shed light on that.
Right.
And I really do feel the important detail is, if you can charge at home, if you can charge where you sleep, for many, if not most people, an electric vehicle is actually a better vehicle. And I think finally our people are getting past all the misinformation and starting to realize that. I mean, I don't think that EVs are going to be the dominant segment in the next 2, 3, 4 years, but it really is. Washington State has cheap electricity, extremely high gas prices. It's really easy to save like $1,400 a year on fueling costs. I mean,
Yes.
not that electricity is free. I'm just talking about the difference in
Yeah, it's
fueling
just it
costs.
makes sense, especially if you're somebody like you say, you have a house, you can put a charger in your house, or you can charge
Yeah,
it at home. You drive less than 50 miles a day.
yeah,
That's your commute. 75 miles even each way, which most people aren't. Most
yeah,
people are in that 30-mile a day. And you don't want to get out of your car. You don't want to get on transit.
yeah.
Um, this is a good alternative, and and I'll give you credit, and I'll take credit. You and I have not stopped being on electric cars. While everybody, not everybody, but most riders were, well, it's over. That's it. Electric cars are dead. Most of YouTube, especially. I saw it quite the opposite way. That this was something that maybe because the COVID, maybe because the companies went into it in a lot of ways half-hearted. Maybe Americans weren't ready for it yet. Maybe it was the politicians that were trying to kill it for whatever reasons. It
There's a
didn't
lot of
work.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there, both unintentional and intentional. I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories or anything like that because it's nothing I can prove. But there's just a lot of bad information. The reality is that according to government statistics, uh, on average, Americans don't drive more than 40 miles, and
Right.
most of the electric vehicles these days will travel well over 250 miles, in many cases over 300 miles on a charge. And if you're charging at home, click, you're there. You don't get gas smell on your hands. You don't have to take a special trip to the gas station. You don't have to stand out there in the elements. There are no oil changes, so you don't have to go to service nearly as much.
And they
Blah,
ride
blah, blah.
beautifully. They ride. I mean, it rides
Yes.
beautifully. So
Yes.
we'll we'll have a combination of electrics and gasoline, ICE vehicles. Gasoline. I don't like to call them ICE vehicles anymore because everybody thinks the cops are going to jump out of them. But ICE vehicles as well. Quickly, I know that we're up against the clock here, but before I let you go, a little
Yes.
bit about the New York Times. It's nice to see their cars automotive section back again. I saw your byline in there.
Yeah.
And tell me about how it feels to be writing again for the New York Times. I don't know why they ever got rid of it, but it certainly is a section that people would look for.
Yeah. Here's why I think it's important that they're covering the automotive world again, because we're at this nexus, right? Where, there's gas cars, there are hybrids, there are EVs. It's never been more important to look at these things because the industry is changing so much, whether it's the powertrains or it's the business side with, the tariffs or no tariffs, then the
Subscription
tariffs
services for your
again, and,
car. Yeah.
um, uh, it's never been more important. The industry has never been more volatile. The Chinese coming in with their inexpensive electric cars, and whether or not those really are a force. I know that everybody seems to think, oh, well, they're super cheap. I'd really love one. The reality is most Americans would never, ever, ever want these $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 electric vehicles. They're way too small and they don't have the range. And there are so many aspects. But the real information is not getting out there. It's
Right.
influencers that are going, oh, this is awesome.
Right.
They're not discerning. They're not really looking at the whole market in a sophisticated way. And I know that there are some people who feel like, oh, the New York Times is biased and all. I've been in the media for 40 years, and I really appreciate that they demand you cover everything in a very encompassing way. And
They have journalistic integrity, which in many
right.
places you just don't find anymore. I talk about the New York Times a lot on our weekday show.
Yeah.
That is, for me, it's my go-to for all kinds of news, not just automotive news, but really for everything.
Yeah.
Because if the Times prints it, it was researched, it was looked at, it was
Trust me.
vetted. Yeah, it was.
Trust me.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't just throw it up there because they wanted to get clicks.
Yes.
No matter what you see on, in their comments, they don't put clickbait up. They put news up, and good news. Stuff that that information that was vetted, was that you know about, and that you can trust. If they're wrong, and if they're wrong, they apologize. They print it. We made a mistake. When's the last time you saw, an influencer? And I'm not going to go, but when's the last time you saw an influencer do that? I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Nah, doesn't happen.
I'll tell you, I cannot tell you the amount of time that I have spent proving to my editors that, okay, this is a reliable source, and here is where I got it from, and here is a link to the government website that shows that this is a viable statistic. It's not just what I write, it's what I have to prove to my editors that my sources are accurate. But just to go on the media, it's really important for people to look at many different sources of news.
Right.
Not to get information, not to get validation, right? Which is something that I say about people who are buying cars. There's a lot of people who don't want information. They know that they're going to buy another Toyota Camry. They just want validation. It's like, no. Get information. Look at the 4 competitors and then make your decision, because you might be missing out on something.
Yeah.
A really cool feature, a really great design.
Something that would make the difference for you, but you don't see it, you don't look at it, and all of a sudden, boom. Tom, thanks so much for taking a few minutes, man. I know you're busy. I'll see you on Tuesday.
I will see you on Tuesday. And just for your information, there will actually be 2 Scout vehicles, not just one. Scout is bringing both of their concept vehicles, their prototypes.
I'm excited.
It's really cool.
I'm excited to see our friend Kathy too, but I'm excited that the Scout's coming up. They've been a Scout has been a supporter of our organization, and it's our turn to support them a little bit and take a look at what they have. From all I've looked at it, it looks to be a fantastic vehicle.
Yeah. People are really excited about it. It's really cool. So, see you on Tuesday.
See you on Tuesday, Tom. Thanks a lot. That's Tom Volk joining us from Driven. You can find his reviews on the YouTube channel that he has, and you can also read him in the New York Times automotive section. All right, Vinny, what are you driving this week? Here is what we'll do next before we get out of here. I know that it's been a little bit of a strange morning. I still can't believe there was like a bug in my. I don't want to say how I think I got it, but there was something crawling around in my shirt. It bit me. What the heck was that? Well, whatever it was, it's dead. So good for us and killing it. Oh man, there's some days where you just go to yourself. It's going to be one of those days. Well, I wanted to let you know what I was driving this week. This is the Toyota Land Cruiser. It's a hybrid. It's I love this vehicle for off-road purposes especially. I like the way it handles and it rides, but I especially like the idea that it has a bit of power to it. with the iForce Max 2.4 four-cylinder turbo engine, the 8-speed automatic transmission, and the full-time four-wheel drive. You put them together, and you get a vehicle that has, 2 seats in it, has a very nice interior, has a rear window that goes up, and is fun to drive. We'll put it through some off-road chops tomorrow, but it's just one of those vehicles that you really, Toyota has been doing the Land Cruiser. The history of the Land Cruiser is, one that the history of the Land Cruiser is, you could read about it and look at it. It's a vehicle that Toyota's put out there since the 60s. It's all over any rough place that you go, any jungle type setting, any desert type setting, you'll find a Land Cruiser there. Well, this is the latest iteration of that vehicle. And by all means, it looks to be a solid vehicle in that category. Now, I know a lot of us don't drive every day on, on desert floors or jungles or this or that. So the trick is the Toyota comes up with a vehicle that is comfortable to drive, functions well on asphalt, and still keeps the characteristics that the Land Cruiser is known for. And that is an ability to go almost anywhere. And, there's only a couple of vehicles that have that, and the Toyota Land Cruiser is one of them. I'm enjoying this vehicle. I'll have a full report on it in a future edition of Drivetime Radio, but that is the Land Cruiser. It is $70,396 is the ticket price, the sticker price on this thing. And I don't know if I'm pretty sure that they're available if you want one. There was a shortage of them for a while, but I think they're available, and your local Toyota dealer would be more than happy to sell you one. The vehicle's provided to Drivetime Radio by the manufacturer. All right, that's going to put another edition for us in the books. As I said, a little bit of a strange show, but we got through it, and we will catch up with you next week with our look back at MUDFEST and automotive news you can use, guests that you'd like to talk to and ask questions of, and a lot more. I'm New York Vinny. Thank you for listening, and catch up with you next week right here on Drivetime Radio. Have a good one.